Hi everyone, it's on. It's on. The June High Masterclass, it's on. And today we have Pedro Oliveira with us once again in his second masterclass in a row. Am I right, Pedro?
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. Okay, and today we have our front end master with us and our masterclass master with us, Pedro, today to talk about mastering library versioning in OutSystems ODC. And before we start, and I'll let Pedro go on with his presentation and the live demo that he has prepared for us. Let me just say that for the ones at home that are watching this right now, drop us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have plenty more content like this prepared for you. We have a high talks in the next couple of weeks, and we have another masterclass prepared for the month of July. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned to our social media and our YouTube channel. And yeah, let's start. Let's put the presentation on here. And yeah, before we start, let me just say that Pedro wrote an article about this subject. You can check it if you scan the QR code or if you go through the description of this video and check the link that we have there. You will have access to this blog article where you have the full guide for the presentation that Pedro is about to take on. And yeah, let's start. Pedro, how are you doing? Are you doing great? And let me just ask you before you start your presentation, what is the purpose of this subject and why does it matter for our community and why should it matter for
Mhm.
our community?
Yeah, hello, João. It's always a pleasure. It matters because not so often. I mean, a lot of times, even if I'm dedicated in long term to a project, or even if we are, for example, performing assessments or UI architecture assessments, a lot of times um, um, people ask me these kind of questions. For example, well, how can I avoid breaking changes? I mean, when I need to have when I need to create or add to a custom component mandatory input parameter, this will break the component because all the applications that are using these components, they will be needed to be updated. So how can I avoid these breaking changes? Or questions like, how can I organize my library of components and at the same time, when they start growing in number, how can I avoid strangling my life cycle in my architecture? Okay, and a lot of times people ask me, okay, can I have uh, different versions of the same components spread along different components being used by different applications, and this starts to be difficult to manage in OutSystems 11. Okay, the older version of OutSystems, and there's no straight answer to all of these questions. There are workarounds for some of them, but there's not a perfect solution for this type of questions. So that's why I figure out, okay, so let me talk a little about ODC, that in a way it's going to solve this type of problems. All right. So the goal here is to introduce the concept of library in the new platform from OutSystems, which is ODC platform, that is going to be capable of helping us managing what we said earlier. So very quickly, without losing a lot of time, uh, just to understand better the libraries, we need to understand better what is the ODC platform. So ODC obviously is a natural evolution of OutSystems 11. Okay, it's cloud-based, meaning that it's the our applications are on are stored on OutSystems servers. Okay, they are not on premises. They are not installed. We don't have own server with the platform installed, as it happens, for example, on OutSystems 11. And on top of everything, they introduced not just these two, but we are going to focus on these two new features, which are they created a single ODC portal that is basically merging all the tools that we currently use with OutSystems 11. Okay, tools like the Lifetime or the Service Center, and also Forge and everything. So everything, all these tools are merged in ODC portal that we can access through the browser. And on top of everything, they change a little bit in commas the architecture of the platform, because now they have this concept of app packaging. Okay, and we are going to talk a little bit about this new approach, because we need to understand, we need to know that this exists to kind of explain why libraries are also a new concept and what is libraries. So grabbing on this concept of app packaging, this means that for each application that we want to send to another environment, like to production, when we do that, what OutSystems is doing under the hood basically is grabbing all the components that we have in our application, all, let's say for now, modules, and all the modules are closed inside a same container, a closed container, okay? A container that is not going to be open to the outside world. And this container, this box, is going to be sent to production, okay? And it's going to live by itself. It's not going to have any dependency to other boxes. So this allows us to have components that are being used by one application, and components and copies of those same components being used by other applications. So the concept of libraries lives with this. And the goal for libraries in OutSystems ODC is to basically store logic. It's the place where we are going to store our reusable components, our themes, also integration with wrappers for integrations and things like that. Okay, and they are here for this. The goal for libraries is not to store data. Okay, they will not allow you to save or to save data on these library type of modules. Okay, so it's easy to understand that they are designed for functionality, to give functionality to application, to the real application where the pages are located and everything. Pages or screens, as you want. So libraries now allow us to create versions. Okay, and these versions or releases, the releases are based on versions. Okay, so every time I publish an library, I can perform like 20 publishes, and then at the end of my day, when everything is tested, I can create a new release based on the version that I know that is working. All right, so it's quite easy, and with this new release, I can go to my application and I can say, okay, in this application, I want to use this specific library release because I know it's working and I know this is the release I want to use in my application. And in another application, I can say, no, I don't want the latest release. I want an older one. Okay, and I can define that in the second application. So we have the same library with different versions and applications using these versions. Okay, so here you can understand now that the concept of closed boxes or closed containers, okay, when I create an application using the latest release of a library, this version of the library is going to be stored inside a container. And I can have another application that is going to be on its own container using a different version of the library. And they can coexist in production, okay, because they are not going to communicate with each other. They can coexist and they can work as expected. So basically, this is going to allow me, even if I have a breaking change on a component, I don't have the need to update all the applications using the component with the breaking change. I can decide if I want to update or if I want to ignore. And that's fine. It's going to work perfectly. So it's quite easy to update libraries. Okay, the maintenance it's very easy. As I said, if I have a new breaking change on the component, when I open my application that has a dependency to that component, I can decide, yes, I want to review and I want to use it, or I don't want it, so forget it. I want the version that I have, which is working. So going back to the first slide, breaking changes are almost over. We can say that, okay? So the lifetime is improved, and the breaking changes problem and architecture is kind of solved. So let's do a very quick demonstration. I'm not going to create all the code for you. I already made it before this demo, but let's try to see what we are talking about. So here we have the portal, the ODC portal. And as you can see, we have a library here, which is already created, and we have a Masterclass app. So if we click on the library, we are going to see that it's being consumed by this application. And if we go to version history, we can see that we already have two versions. One of them, the first one, is based on the second revision. This means that I first publish the library, then perform another publish, and I create a version based on this second publish. Then I perform a third publish, which is this revision, and I create a new version based on this revision. Okay? So if we bring ODC, the ODC Studio here, we also have, it's barely the same as OutSystems 11. So we have our Masterclass library, where we can see we have this custom card component. Okay, it's called custom card, and it has some events, some input, some mandatory input parameters, and some placeholders. And now we have here on the second tab, we have the application called Masterclass app. And as you can see, it identifies that the component that we have here, since it's yet based on the first version of the component, and I still didn't update it, it's saying that, hey, there's a review that you need to see, or if you don't want to bother with this, you can dismiss it. Okay, so as you can see here, the component that I'm using here doesn't have the input parameter. Okay, and here we already have that input parameter. Okay, and it's a mandatory one, meaning this is going to create a breaking change. Okay, so if I want, for some reason, I don't want to dismiss, I want to update, I just need to go to review, and it's going to show me all the libraries that I'm using, and for each library, what is going on with the library, what is wrong, what what is the problem. So I can see that by reading the release notes, I can see that, well, I added a new mandatory input parameter and I changed the event that we have here from optional to mandatory. So 2 breaking changes. So yeah, that's fine for me, that's fine. I want to update because I need this new feature on my application. So I just need to click on the update all. It's going to refresh the component, and from this point on, I can start updating my application. And which is in this scenario, I need to create an action to deal with the event. As you can see here, now the event is mandatory, and now we have also a mandatory input parameter. So in the place in the screen where I'm using it, I need to choose, for example, true. Okay, and for the second problem that we have here, which is the mandatory event, I just need to assign a new event, and that's it. We fixed the two issues. We can now publish the application, and from this point on, OutSystems will grab the version that is being used from the library, the current library version that I'm using, and when I send everything to production, it will use the same version to create that container that we talked earlier, and that's what is going to be sent to production. So if a different development team is using the same component, if they don't want to update it, they don't need it anymore. They are going to use the older version, which is the one without input parameter, right? So the life cycle of their application is going to work as expected, and our life cycle is going to work as expected. So when ODC ends finished, we can go back to our applications in ODC Studio, and we can see here that our application, we can see what are the consumers and the producers, which in this scenario we don't have any consumer, but we have this producer, which is our library, and we can see that is using version 1.1.1. Okay, and in a couple of minutes, this is the way we can deal with libraries. So to wrap things up, bottlenecks are over. Well, I would say yes, but we cannot forget that there's a human factor here. Okay, I mean, there are developers using this. So developers are humans. Sometimes we don't look like humans, but yes, we are humans. And besides, OutSystems is making us or forcing us avoiding some errors or some bad usage of libraries. We are very, very we have a huge imagination, and we can find a lot of times ways of going around the rules. So bottlenecks are almost over. I mean, almost 100%. It's going to be much difficult to create bottlenecks. Okay, so as you saw, it's very easy to maintain libraries. It's very easy to maintain applications that are consuming those libraries. With a couple of clicks, we can decide if you want to ignore, if you want to apply changes. It's very easy to send everything to production because everything is inside the ODC portal. With this, we can start creating a better and simpler architecture, because we are going to have things more organized either inside libraries or either inside applications. And well, again, the life cycle of the applications, as I show you, it's going to be improved. It's going to work better. again, because we can now manage, because I may be at a point in time that I cannot update the components that I'm using, because I really need to send my application to production, and I don't need, I cannot wait for the UI team to create or to update the entire set of components. So it doesn't matter, because I'm using a different version, and they are working on an earlier version. So I can send my application. I don't need to ask anything, right? So yeah,
All right.
that's it for now.
Okay, really, really cool, Pedro. Really cool. Yeah,
Library is something that really impressed me with in OutSystems ODC. Really,
yeah,
yeah.
sure.
So
And thanks for the presentation, Pedro. I think that the ones that really got it, like in 20 minutes, you wrap the topic and you covered all the points. And I really thank you for this amazing
yeah,
presentation.
I mean, if you want to see in more detail, you
Yeah,
have the article, as João said in the beginning. You have
yeah.
more detailed information there, more print screens. So I invite you to go there to take a
Yeah.
look if you want to see this in more detail.
And you, if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach
Yeah,
us out, whether it be on the comment section of this video or messages on our social media or through our website. We will be more than happy to answer all of your questions. And yeah, with that said, if you stood by till the end, feel free to drop us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for upcoming content like this that we have prepared for you. And thanks to the ones at home. Thanks, Pedro, for this amazing
thank you.
presentation. And see you on the next one. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye bye.